Hi, I'm Barbara Smith.
And I'm Phil Strain.
Phil and I are here to give you a quick overview and introduction to the State Implementation Guide. We're excited about this guide and this resource. The guide represents years of work that Phil and I and our colleagues have engaged in, helping states build the supports that programs need to implement evidence-based practices with fidelity. The guide will take you through several stages of implementation. It provides you with examples of resources, of guidelines, of data measures. We believe that this guide, this process, these materials are primarily for state-level folks responsible for improving child and family outcomes. We also believe that local program administrators, professional development practitioners, coaches, anyone who's involved in program improvement efforts will find this guide, and particularly the examples, the resources, and the materials useful.
This guide is organized around 4 essential support structures: a state leadership team that guides the initiative, a professional development network of program coaches who provide training and guidance to programs, implementation and demonstration sites where the evidence-based practices are put into action, and a data and evaluation system that is used to collect program, child, and family outcome data. There are also 4 stages of the implementation in this guide. Each stage leads you through the critical work necessary to achieve full implementation of your selected evidence-based practices, from laying the groundwork for the initiative to building key systems and supports, to implementing the practices, and eventually to scaling up the initiative. Let's take a look at the 4 essential support structures, starting with the state leadership team. The state leadership team is a cross-agency team responsible for planning, supporting, and supervising the initiative. They guide the initiative with a tool that we call the State Benchmarks of Quality, which is also used to assess progress and to plan future actions. The second essential support structure is the professional development network of program coaches. These professional development experts provide coaching to implementation site leadership teams. They also help the local leadership teams with their data collection, with data analysis, and with database decision-making. The third essential support structure are the implementation and demonstration sites. The implementation sites are the local sites where the evidence-based practices will be implemented. They are chosen by the state leadership team, and they establish their own leadership teams. They receive coaching from the program coaches on how best to implement the evidence-based practices and how to collect and report data on outcomes. A few high-fidelity implementation sites will be chosen to become demonstration sites. These sites are selected in order to showcase the practices in use, to host tours, to promote the initiative, and importantly, to share their data on implementation and outcomes. The last essential support structure is the data and evaluation system. This system is made up of a collection of measurement tools and procedures used by the state and program leadership teams to collect data on how well the practices are being implemented and the desired outcomes are being achieved. The data generated is critical to ongoing planning and decision-making throughout the initiative.
Now that you've seen the 4 essential support structures, let's look at the 4 implementation stages your work is likely to go through. The first stage is exploration and planning. Exploration refers to identifying areas in need of change or the child or family outcomes to improve, as well as the evidence-based practices you're going to use. Planning refers to the work the state leadership team does to get the initiative off the ground. The next stage is installation, which refers to installing the support structures, like the professional development network or the data systems, necessary to support the high-fidelity adoption of the practices at the implementation sites. This stage is key to success. The third stage is implementation, initial to full. In initial implementation, the practices selected by the state leadership team are put into place in the first implementation sites. The program leadership teams at those sites, with the support of the external program coach, guide the process, review data, make decisions, and provide feedback to the state leadership team on successes and challenges. Full implementation is reached when all the initial sites are using the practices correctly and achieving the expected outcomes. The last stage in the process is scale up. This is when you take the initiative statewide. New sites will be introduced, and existing sites will continue to be supported. By increasing the number of sites across the state, more children and their families will have access to effective interventions and supports. We invite you to take some time now and explore the State Implementation Guide at your own pace. Look at the resources, the tools, the examples, and think about how you can apply them in your effort to support programs in your state, implement evidence-based practices to improve the outcomes for the children and the families in your state.